So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm Kent Lee. I have the honor of serving as the Council President Pro Tem at the City of San Diego, as well as to represent the 6th District, which includes the community of Mira Mesa, where we are today. We stand here today to acknowledge someone who had to fight for every ounce of acknowledgement she earned, and did so with kindness and grace. Someone who fought not only for her own recognition, but for the recognition of entire communities. Today, we're here to celebrate the life of a civil rights leader and a trailblazing San Diegan, Julia Jigs Legaspi. It isn't every day that we get to celebrate something, especially for those of us who work at City Hall, but this is the gift that Julia left us, this feeling of joy, unity, and community. It's the way that Julia made people feel every single day of her life. So today, on Julia's birthday, we honor not only the life that she lived, but the legacy that she left behind through her friendship, her advocacy, and through her service to so many. Last month, I was honored to be joined by my council colleagues where we approved my recommendation to name this street after Julia. And we stand here today near the corner of Penticton Way and Crater Drive, where the Legaspi family has called home in Mira Mesa for decades. Today, I'm excited to share this moment with all of you, whether it's our community leaders, some of your neighbors, family and friends, as we officially unveil Julia Legaspi Way. We have many esteemed speakers here today, and so as the City Council member for Mira Mesa, let me just go ahead and set the stage before I introduce all of them up. Julia's story began like countless San Diegans. She immigrated here, and in 1980, she came to the United States from Cavite City in the Philippines. Just 2 years after her arrival, Julia made the first of many decisions in her life that would change the shape of San Diego. She opened Jigs Hair Studio in Mira Mesa. And that salon became more than just a shop. It became an institution. Over the past 4 decades, it grew to become a beloved gathering place for Filipino and Asian American community members here in San Diego. And that storefront is just the start of Julia's journey. In 1991, Julia transitioned, a courageous decision, a decision that could have been entirely personal just for her. But Julia decided to harness the power of her courageous choice and to use it to fuel a career of public advocacy and service so that she could help others like herself. Julia changed the course of San Diego history more than once. First, she made history by becoming the first transgender person to be appointed to public office in San Diego, and only the 3rd in the entire country. Then Julia made history again. Thanks to her advocacy, the City of San Diego repealed discriminatory policies like San Diego's cross-dressing law, a part of the municipal code that had targeted trans women of color disproportionately for decades. My wife Fung and I, like many who are here today, considered Julia to be a dear friend. I first came to know Julia through an introduction through the former executive director of Pacific Arts Movement, Leanne Kim, through many years of her volunteerism for the San Diego Asian Film Festival through its annual awards gala, where she helped to style countless Asian American, and Pacific Islander storytellers. These are filmmakers, writers, producers, actors and actresses, even celebrities, for a night of their honor. And to me, it was just one of the many ways that Julia helped to celebrate and uplift the stories of San Diego's API community. She helped to support me and countless other API individuals on our journey here in San Diego. She helped to cut my daughter's hair before as well. And it's just a reminder, I think, of how Julia made others feel supported, feel seen, and to feel strong here in San Diego. And finally, perhaps above all else, Julia was a woman of deep faith. And despite the discrimination that she faced in her own community, she remained a spiritual leader at the Good Shepherd Parish right here in Mira Mesa. Julia once said, quote, "I was not the son my parents wanted, but I became the daughter they could be proud of." Indeed, Julia was a daughter, a sister, a leader, and an icon that our entire city could look to with pride. So now we're going to hear from a few of Julia's friends and fellow community leaders, starting with our mayor. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Todd Gloria.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem Lee. And, before I comment about my dear friend Julia, I want the crowd to know that the city has a policy of allowing for honorary street namings. And council members are limited to just 2 per term that they serve in office. And so for Council President Pro Tem to take this limited opportunity he has to elevate Julia and her life and her contributions to our city is particularly remarkable. So, Kent, thank you for acknowledging our friend, our leader, Julia Legaspi. This is significant, and I appreciate you doing that. Good afternoon, everybody. We have a number of other speakers, including Nicole, so I'm going to be relatively quick. It's difficult to talk about Jigs because I miss her so much, and I know that all of you feel the same way. And Kent did a wonderful job of explaining her significance, what she meant to our local Filipino community, our local LGBTQ plus community, the Mira Mesa community, our small business community. The list goes on. And that is why she's worthy of this recognition. It wasn't that she just did one thing extremely well. She did many things so well. And a part of why we all miss her so much is that in doing all that work, it was always something positive. It was always something uplifting. You loved to be in her presence. She was just a wonderful human being. And I like the fact that someone of her caliber and of her sort of humble but very impactful way is going to have this honoring of a street name forever. I will simply say that I think in a time when our immigrant community feels so much under attack, and when our transgender community feels so much under attack, and both of those things are true, that this city, our city, is choosing to elevate someone who is an immigrant to this country, someone who is a transgender history maker, an icon, and someone who is a decent human being, to let the whole world know how important people like Julia are to communities like ours, not just here in San Diego, but all across this country. I think it's very important. As was mentioned, she served our city extremely well, both on our Equal Opportunity Commission as well as on our Human Relations Commission. And that work is very meaningful. We have some of our commissioners who are here today. That work is very important for making sure the city remains an opening and welcoming place, a place that's welcomed so many of us. I always like to point out I'm our city's first Filipino, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dutch mayor. That happens because we're a welcoming community that welcomes people from literally all around the world. And as a result, we're the 8th largest city in this country, the 2nd largest in California, with a vibrant economy that even under difficult circumstances continues to grow and create jobs that allow people to stay and move into communities like Mira Mesa and live their lives. And I want to put this in context. What Julia was able to do in her life meant that more people got to have the story that she lived, because she was willing to serve her community, because she was willing to open doors of opportunity wider for those who came after her. She's truly a historic figure and worthy of this recognition. And so I thank Council President Pro Tem for creating this possibility. I thank the City Council for ratifying his request. And I'm grateful to our transportation staff who are down there prepared to unveil the sign officially. We are a city that knows that it is America's finest city, and we are that because of Julia Legaspi. And I just say, as her friend, I know Jigs was an extraordinary human being. Many of you were so kind and so vocal in my elections for mayor, but I don't know that there's anybody more vocal than Jigs. And as I walked this community door to door, when people would open the door, I would explain at that time, I'm Assemblymember Todd Gloria, I'm running for mayor. They're like, no, you're Jigs' friend. You're Julia's friend. And that spoke, I think, to her strength of being so deeply ingrained in a community that we, of course, should name this street and forever for her name. And so I'll wrap up by saying that this naming is honorary, but it's permanent, meaning to say that decades from now, her name will continue to hang over this street. And I recognize with time, sometimes people's memories fade a little bit, but the importance of this sign is that no matter how many years pass, this street will always bear her name, and people will have the opportunity to Google or search or whatever they may do in that time to find out more information. And they will find the story of Julia Legaspi. And they'll find the story of an immigrant who started a successful small business, who blazed a historic trail, who made life easier for the transgender community here and all across our state and country, and someone who left this community far better than she found it. I'm glad that her name will permanently fly over this street in Mira Mesa. It's a fitting tribute, and I thank you all for being here, for remembering my dear friend, Julia Legaspi. May her name never be forgotten by the people of this great city. With that said, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the podium someone who is also an icon, not just in San Diego, not just in California, but global. Am I correct? An international icon. As you can tell, Nicole is like family to me, and I give her a hard time simply because the contributions that Nicole has made to this society are innumerable. Nicole also has a street already named after him in our city. We live freer and fairer lives because Nicole doesn't take anything from anybody. Nicole has knocked down more doors on behalf of this community than anyone else that I know, and I'm so grateful for Nicole's courage, persistence, and the fact that in his life, the many things he's accomplished, he was a long time and dear and close friend of Julia Legaspi. So for some more words, ask the chairman of our city's Human Relations Commission, city commissioner, my dear friend Nicole Ramirez, to come up for a few words.
I saw many of you handling this. You'll find out later. Good afternoon, buenos dias. Hi. Have they already had the Miss Universe? Oh, we would always, a lot of times see it together. What an absolute perfect day this is for the dedication of a street honoring Julia Ashley Legaspi. It's not only her birthday, but also Trans Awareness Week and National Native American Heritage Month. And most certainly Julia was a most beloved and blessed two-spirit trailblazer. I first met Julia almost 40 years ago before her transition. I met her as Jigs when she became one of my campaign managers for my re-election as Empress of San Diego. You see, the Imperial Court was the very first involvement in San Diego's LGBTQA community. She and the late Jim Kua were at that time about the only Asian Pacific Islander activists in our community. She told me she could deliver me the Filipino vote. And that election night, she brought over 30 members of the Filipino community to the coronation ball to vote for me. Julia joined the court and soon was elected Princess Royale and our 20th Empress of San Diego. We soon became family, and she proudly told everyone that she was my number one daughter, and she was. And she was the first to call me Mommy Dearest. It was indeed Empress Julia who brought LGBT Filipinos into our community. It was Julia who introduced me to Michael Zarbo, a.k.a. Lala 2, Noel, Jeffrey Tom, Shoni Hendry, and so many others. Soon, Julia Ashley Legaspi became a well-known activist and leader in both the Filipino and LGBT communities. She became the bridge builder for both communities. Everyone who met her knew she was articulate, intelligent, beautiful, religious, a proud Filipino trans woman. She became a fierce advocate for the visibility and empowerment of the two communities she loved, the Filipino and the LGBT community. Julia Ashley Legaspi became an advocate for the trans community when you could not count any trans activists maybe on one hand. Most importantly, she mentored and advised many young activists, many who have become leaders in our community. She became the first transgender and Asian Pacific Islander to be appointed to the Police Chiefs and Sheriff's Advisory Board, and was the first transgender woman made a city commissioner appointed by then Republican Mayor Dick Murphy. She also was a county commissioner, and she became an advisor to bishops of San Diego, including now Cardinal McEnroy. Indeed, Julia Legaspi became and is a true San Diego pioneer, trailblazer, and hero. But being her gay mother, I cannot and will not ignore and not speak about something she many times privately shared with me. That throughout her life, she was subjected at times to ridicule and hate, snickering, and negativity. And just a few years ago, she was subjected to a local religious leader calling her, and I quote, an abomination before God. I know personally that this absolutely crushed her spirit and broke her heart. And though it did, Julia faced this hate and negativity as she always did throughout her life, with dignity and grace and a refusal to hate back. But I know this because many times she quietly wept when speaking to me of these things. In closing, I want to say that God has blessed us LGBT people with two families, our blood family and our chosen family. And while many of us have been rejected by our own blood family, I want to say to Julia's family, you will never know how much she thanked God for your unconditional love that you gave her. She loved her sisters and brothers so very much and was proud of your accomplishments. And to Councilman Kent Lee, from the bottom of our hearts, God bless you for doing this honor for her. As I've told you, she has told me many times how proud she was of you. And if you could come up here, Councilman Lee, I'd like to present to you from our international organization that Julia was a proud of, our highest honor. I am proud to say that our City's Human Relations Commission has established a permanent award named after Julia. It's called the Commissioner Julia Legaspi API Leadership Awards. And today we have with us the first recipient of it, Joanne Fields. Where are you, Joanne? And she will be honored with a Hillcrest Heroes banner in the next year when the Hillcrest Pride Park is completed. Ooh. And finally, has been said, that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Julia Ashley Legaspi devoted and gave her entire life to her family, the Filipino community, the LGBT community, her city. So I close with words from the Bible. I believe that when God greeted her, this was what he said for her. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith. So now please join me in giving her her last ovation. If we all could stand, and I will give her her last look. Now you'll know what this is. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Most Imperial Majesty, the 20th elected Empress of all San Diego, Jigs Julia Ashley Legaspi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, for that wonderful honor. And to share many of these memories. We're going to welcome up next someone who was, again, another special friend, not just to all of us in San Diego, but especially here in Mira Mesa, because he helps to represent Mira Mesa, and that is Assemblymember Chris Ward.
Thank you, Councilmember Lee, and great, I get to follow Nicole. That's impossible to really get ahead of, but I'm just grateful to be here with community, for Julia Legaspi's family, and the broader Mira Mesa community as well, to be able to celebrate this momentous day. Yeah, I think, again, I have to underscore kudos to Councilmember Kent Lee, because when we got this program started to be able to do honorary street designations in the city of San Diego a few years ago when I was on council, you may have to appreciate that every council member represents more or less about 150,000 San Diegans, and so to think that we need to find one or two a year to really elevate, I think speaks to how profound and amazing and just honored we are that you thought of Julia Legaspi here, because of course we want to make sure that those that we are recognizing here permanently in San Diego reflect the broader community and those that have been such an incredible trailblazer that deserve that permanent recognition. To name a street is to say that person who traveled it made our journey really, truly better as a community leader. Is, of course, a statement to her legacy, and one that we want our children and grandchildren to see, to remember about, and to ask about, and to learn from, and the legacy that we are reflecting on here today. You know that she was a trailblazer in every sense of the word. She was a proud transgender Filipino woman. She was a small business owner, the spiritual warrior, the pillar of our community, and of course, when she opened up Jig's Hair Studio way back in 1982, she didn't just style hair, she built a family. She created a safe haven, a cultural home for Filipino, LGBTQ+, and broader Asian and Pacific Islander community members. Her work extended far beyond her shop doors. She was a history maker. You've heard she not only holds the distinction of being the first transgender person elected to public office in San Diego, but the third in our entire country. She didn't just wait for a seat at the table, she built the table and she welcomed everyone to it. Her goal was simple yet profound: to ensure that everybody, especially those living at the intersection of their LGBTQ and AAPI identities, live with dignity, loved freely, and existed openly. And her life was a testament to that mission. Yes, she fought openly to dismantle a lot of discriminatory laws, like the cross-dressing laws, weaponized for decades to target transgender women right here in our community. And during the darkest days of the HIV and AIDS crisis, when so many were abandoned, Julia became their family. She held their hands, she fed them, and she ensured that this world was knowing that they were loved. That is the definition of a true spiritual warrior. And her advocacy never stopped, and neither did the challenges that she faced. In 2021, while serving on the county's Human Relations Commission, she, as you heard, was met with hateful, transphobic attacks. And it was a painful reminder that the fight for dignity for our transgender siblings is far from over, and indeed today, we are still fighting that fight, and we will fight that fight. But Julia, Mama Jigs, as so many lovingly knew her, she met hate with the same grace and resilience as she showed all of us for over 40 years. And by naming the street in her honor, we're not only memorializing her memory as a trailblazer, we are rejecting that hate. We are loudly and proudly declaring that transgender voices, Filipino voices, and the broader LGBTQ voices do belong in our community. They're not just a part of our history, they're very much a part of our present, and they're very much a part of the soul of our city. And so today, this community, the city, and the state of California does say very loud and clear with one voice that, Julia, you are a daughter that we are so incredibly proud of. May her name on the street be a reminder of her courage, her compassion, and her unwavering faith in our community, and may she, of course, rest ever faithfully in eternal peace and power. Thank you all.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ward. Next up, we have Alex Villafuerte, who is a leader in his own right in many capacities in the community. Certainly one who serves as the executive director of Pacific Arts Movement, but also was founder and co-chair of the San Diego Asian Pacific Islander Coalition. Let's welcome Alex.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. That's as much Filipino as I'm going to get to, just for Tita Jigs. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Villafuerte. I am the Executive Director of Pacific Arts Movement. And today feels special, but it means even more because we're unveiling this honorary street sign on Tita Jig's birthday. There's really no more fitting day to honor her life and everything she gave to this community. Tita Jigs was a Mira Mesa resident, as we've heard, for over 40 years. This is where she built her life, where she was laid to rest, and where her family continues to live. Calling her a model citizen doesn't even come close. She embodied service, compassion, and pride every single day. She was active in her church. She was a proud Filipino American, and she was a proud transgender woman. And what made her so remarkable was how she held all of those identities at once, without apology and without conflict. She lived them gracefully, fully, and with joy. For decades, she ran the beloved Jigs Hair Studio. I have friends who are now in their 30s and 40s who remember sitting in the waiting room watching TFC next to a statue of Santo Niño, waiting for their mom to get a perm. And so that's just how you know how long this studio has been here. It's been generations of Filipinos that have gone through there. And it was a place that shaped families across generations. And through that salon, she constantly gave back. She volunteered her time and talent for the San Diego Asian Film Festival, as the council member said, styling filmmakers and guests and bringing her signature warmth to every occasion. I also had the honor of serving with her on the Leanne L. Williams County of San Diego Human Relations Commission. And despite it all, even in that space, her voice was steady, grounded, and unapologetically rooted in community. She always showed up with conviction and with heart. To so many, she was an advocate, a trailblazer, a commissioner, an activist. For me, she was a mentor. Tita Jigs was the first person I saw in the community advocacy space who looked like me, someone who was part of the LGBTQ community and part of the Filipino community. And she was always her full self. She was always her. Never less, never smaller, no matter who was in the room. Something that I strive for. In my office, there is a mug she gifted me that simply says love. And that's exactly how she moved through the world, with love, grace, and joy. And I hope that when people see this sign, they remember her or they learn about her and learn about her love and grace and carry a little bit of that with them as they navigate the world and connect with their neighbors. So thank you, Councilmember Kent Lee, for putting this forward. Thank you all for being here to celebrate Julia's Tita Jigs legacy, and happy heavenly birthday, Tita Jigs. Thank you. To close us out is Tita Jigs' brother, Noah Legaspi.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would say to everybody, I'm very honored and privileged as well to be Jig's youngest brother. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Mayor Todd Gloria, Alex, and of course, Mr. Kenley. It's kind of difficult to utter words to describe the personality of Jigs. It's very hard for me. Because you know what? I never heard any negative, no matter the challenges are. I know changes are constant, challenges are inevitable. But yet, she gracefully embraced all those changes and challenges and turned it into a positive rather than negative. I came home from work today thinking of Jig's birthday. I happened to look at the YouTube, I saw Manny Pacquiao. I know everybody in the Filipino community knows Manny Pacquiao, right? An 8-weight division champion. Nonetheless, the only 8 world champion. However, when I think of Jigs, she's a champion without division. She didn't isolate anybody, rather than include them. No inclusion, rather recognition in her behalf. Never once she hesitated to extend her helping hand for those people in dire need of help. And a lot of people who has the opportunity to be with her can attest to that. They are the living testimony. I myself, I'm very honored, as I said, I'm very proud to be a member of her family. In that regards, I said this once before, and I will say this again. Jigs, you might be gone, but not forgotten. And in the presence of my beloved family and friends, all I can say, Jakes, we all love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel, for your remarks. And thank you to the entire family for sharing Jigs and her love with all of us. Well, we're here at that moment today. Again, the sun is out here just in this brief respite that we have from the weather that we've been facing so that we get to celebrate this moment. So we're going to ask the crowd to actually join us. We're going to be crossing the street down to the corner of Penticton and Crater, where we're going to unveil the Julia Legaspi Way signage. And then the family, I believe, welcomes you back here as well for a little bit of reception afterwards. Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah!